Hi, this is Marty from Scheller's Fitness and Cycling. And first, I'd like to thank you for the purchase of your new treadmill. We really appreciate you. The purpose of this video is to go through a couple of the assembly steps specifically that deal with belt tensioning and treadmill level issues. Now, first we'll talk about the treadmill leveling a little bit. It's a pretty simple process. Now, treadmills need to be level from side to side. Of course, treadmills at times are not going to be level from front to back because treadmills are designed to elevate as a rule. But they do need to be leveled from side to side. If they're not level from side to side, you're going to have belt tracking issues where the belt is going to tend to track to the low side always. Okay, so to check the level from side to side, you really just need one simple tool. A 24-inch level, carpenter's level, is ideal. You can use a longer level. However, depending on where the machine is located in your home, you might have an obstruction on one side or the other. That can be a problem. Don't use a shorter level like a torpedo level. The torpedo level will only sit on the belt. You don't want that. You want the edges of the 24-inch level to be on the straddle covers. So these plastic, sometimes aluminum, sides of the treadmill are called the straddle, and then the straddle cover. That's where you stand when you're mounting or dismounting the treadmill. So what we're going to do is pretty straightforward. We're going to check level in the front and the back. Doesn't matter which one you do first. I happen to be facing the back, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm placing the level on the straddle covers, as you can see, and then you can determine level by looking at the center bubble on the level. And there's two hash marks, at least two hash marks, and that bubble should be pretty well right between those hash marks. So in this case, it's like spot on, it's dead on. The back of the treadmill here is just fine, okay? Nothing required here. I'm gonna repeat the process up front, place it as near the front of the machine as I can get, and in this particular case, it's the same circumstance. Spot on, don't need to do anything. Now, if it were low on one side, like in this case, I'm simulating it being low on the right, the bubble is all the way over to the left. And what I can do is I can raise the low side of this level to kind of visually gauge how much it's off. Now, treadmills, unlike some other pieces of fitness equipment like ellipticals and exercise bikes, treadmills do not have levelers on them. The treadmills don't have levelers because there's wheels on the machine that account for the treadmill being able to elevate, and those wheels need to roll during that elevation process. So the shimming process is not particularly sophisticated, but it works. So what you might consider doing is cutting some 6x6 pieces of the box the treadmill came in. And you might need 4 or 6 pieces, perhaps. One in the front, one in the back, potentially. If you have some low pile carpet remnants, that can work really well. Vinyl tile remnants can work really well. Furniture movers could work too. You have to be a little bit cautious about furniture movers because they are designed to move furniture, so they can be slippery, so the treadmill could potentially walk a little bit. But the point is it doesn't have to be a sophisticated shim. You just need something to bring up that side. Now, if the machine is equally unlevel on the front and the back, then you're going to shim both the front and the back. If the front or the back is level, then just shim the side that's not, okay? So that's the basic process for shimming. Once you've shimmed, get on the machine, put your weight on it, check the level again, and if you need to add more shims, then just do so. So pretty straightforward. Now, in a separate video, I'll discuss a little bit what happens if we've already gone past the shimming opportunity and that treadmill has started to track off to one side. If you have a treadmill that's tracking off to one side, we have a little different process that we need to go through, and it's not just simply a matter of shimming. So that's a separate video. So if that's your issue, then look for that separate video on our YouTube channel. Now, the other thing that may need to be addressed, usually not, but could need to be addressed at the time of assembly is belt tension. Now, in our experience, these belts are generally always tensioned properly when they come out of the box. We generally don't need to tension belts for average home users. Having said that, however, there are a couple of circumstances where a tension adjustment may be necessary. Now, it's possible that you could have one user in the family who's a relatively lightweight walker. Say you have a 135-pound walker. That person experiences no problems with belt tension adjustment. However, you get a 210-pound jogger or runner on the machine, and that machine feels like it's slipping every time that user plants their foot on the belt. Well, the heavier user with the heavier load is overcoming the tension adjustment on the treadmill. That's one example. But it could be that both those users use that treadmill out of the box for months into years indefinitely, and there's never a belt tension adjustment. So it's not something you should plan on doing, but it's something you want to be aware of in case one or more of the users feel some slipping in the treadmill. Now, belt tension adjustment's pretty straightforward. The access point, with only the rarest of exceptions, is inside the rear roller cover. So this is the roller. This is covering the end of the treadmill where that roller is anchored. And inside every treadmill, there's two bolts or screws that fasten into something structural in the treadmill and hold this rear roller back to tension the belt. Now, in many cases, the tool to make this adjustment comes with the machine. This one happens to use a 6mm Allen wrench, and it was part of the owner's manual. It may not be the owner's manual in the owner's manual on the treadmill you bought, but frequently it is. Again, on this particular machine, the bolt is a 6mm hex screw. Okay, so I'm using a 6mm Allen wrench, and I'll find access right there. Same on the left side of the treadmill. Now, when you are tensioning a treadmill belt, there's a couple of things that are really important to keep in mind. One, assuming you're not dealing with tracking issues, okay? Tracking issues are handled differently. You are going to tension the rear roller an equal amount on each side. And the amount of tension that you're going to add to this roller is a little bit. It goes a long way. It doesn't take much. So to tension it, we're going to be turning in a clockwise direction. Some people like to say righty-tighty. If that's how you think about it, that's fine. We're going to tension in a clockwise direction. That's going to add tension to the belt. What we're going to do is we're going to turn in 1/4 revolution increments on both sides. We're going to repeat the process or repeat the circumstances in which we notice a slip. So if it's the 210-pound jogger, that person needs to get back on the machine and see if it feels like it's slipping. If it's not, great, you're finished. If the machine's still slipping, then another 1/4 turn. Repeat. This is what we do in the field when we're installing a treadmill. Now, if you find a need to rotate that rear bolt a turn or more, a full turn or more, and you still have significant slipping, there may be something else going on. We recommend not proceeding. Give us a call at our service department. Let's dialogue about it and give you some help over the phone. But typically that's not needed. Typically you don't have to make any rear roller tension adjustments, and the machine's going to behave and function properly from a tension standpoint right out of the box. So again, those are kind of the basics on leveling your machine and tensioning the belt if necessary. And again, if we're dealing with a tracking issue, one side or the other, watch our video on belt tracking and how to resolve that. We hope you really enjoy your treadmill, and we really appreciate you choosing Scheller's Fitness and Cycling. Thanks.